To open Illustrator, you can go up to the magnifier if you don't see Illustrator in your bar at the bottom. You can type in Illustrator. And it should start to open. It might take some time in the Room 215 lab. You're going to go to File, New, click on Web, and create a common web page. So I just double clicked. You may not see all the tools because the default is for an Essentials workspace window. We're going to go up to Window and choose a different workspace that is Essentials Classic. You will open it and it will be in Essentials. So we're going to go to Essentials Classic, and your workspace, your tool setup should look like this. If you don't see your layers window, you can click on the stacked piece of paper to the right. If you still cannot see that icon, you can go to Window and click on Layers under the Window drop down. This I'm just going to click and move off to the right. This will be an important part of our introduction to Illustrator. We're going to use just shapes today to create a character. So over here you may have the rectangle tool that is the default. You can hold your click on the shape tool or the rectangle and you can choose a shape. I'm going to then click and drag to make a head. I'm going to make a character made out of shapes. So that's the goal for this first assignment. I'm then going to pick something for the body. I'm going to click and drag. And you'll notice that there's a blue circle in the center of your shape. You can use that to move your shape around. You can also click on the black arrow up here to move your shape around. I'm going to choose a color up here. This is my fill. It's what the color is filled with. This is the stroke. This is the outline of the shape. So over here I'm going to try a different color for my stroke or outline, and then up here I can change the stroke weight by clicking the up arrow or the down arrow. Then with my black arrow I'm going to click off to see what this looks like, and I'm going to start to add some other shapes to make some arms and legs. You could see that I just hovered over the corner and I got the curved arrow, which allowed me to rotate a shape. I'm also going to, while this shape is selected, use Edit Copy, which is Command C right over here for the shortcut, and Command V to paste, and I'm going to get a second arm. Now I want one of these arms to be behind the circle, so it looks like these arms are up in the air. To do that, I have to come over to my layers. I click the side arrow to get my sub-layers. Now over here I have the visibility, which is indicated by the eye. So I'm going to click this to figure out which, actually I can see which layer this is on by the blue square. So I'm going to take this arm, I'm going to hold my click on it, and I'm going to drag it below the main rectangle of the body. Oops, it's still not behind the head, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to drag it behind the head. So now I have an arm on both sides, and I'm going to create some eyes and some features. I can choose no fill as an option. By clicking the color with the red line through it. So if I accidentally make a shape, I can either hit delete or I can use Command Z or go to Edit, Undo to go back a step. Command Z. I'm going to open my navigator window. Which will let me zoom in, which you can also use Command plus or Command minus to zoom in and out. But I can also click on this red box and move around my screen. I'm going to go to my paintbrush. So this is the only other tool besides the shape tool and the selection tool that you'll use for this first assignment. I'm going to click and drag to make a football shape. I'm going to come up here and select it with my black arrow, and I'm going to give it a fill. I can change my outline, and I can also change the color. I'm going to add some stitching. Okay, I want to shrink this ball just a little, so I'm going to select it with the black arrow, and I'm going to hold Shift and scale it down. If I don't hold Shift, it will distort it, but so you can see if I don't hold Shift, actually I might make it like that. And now I'm going to select all of this and shrink it a little. So I'm going to hold Shift and scale it down. And then over here on my layers, I'm ready to make a second character. So I'm going to put my second character on a different layer. I'm going to select my first character by clicking and dragging with the black arrow. I'm going to collapse layer 1. I'm going to click this create new layer icon next to the trash can, and I'm going to use Command V to paste. Whoop, I think I forgot to, so I want to hit Command C to copy, and then click on your new layer and Command V to paste. So now I have a second character, so I'm going to write character 1, character 2. And I'm also going to select this football and cut it from character 1. So I'm going to use Command X, or I could go to Edit, Cut, create a new layer, and paste. So you want your main objects to be on different layers because when we get into multiple layers, it's easy to lock layers and then just select the whole space and get the one layer you didn't lock or the one character. So we'll get into that a little bit later. So now that I have character 2 here, I'm going to click on it and just change the colors. I might give this character some hair. After I've drawn sort of an outline for the hair, I can select it with the black arrow and pick a fill. I can also increase my brush size. All right. So you can work on your characters and give them some details. I'm going to create another layer and drag it to the very bottom of all of my layers, and I'm going to create a background. So here I have the rectangle tool. I'm going to make a sort of ground that these characters are standing on. And then I'm going to make a sky space. And you'll notice that the rectangles are behind everything when I made them, because I dragged that layer to the bottom of my layer stack over here. Now, here's where having different things on other layers becomes convenient. So let's say I now want to move this character. If I click and drag, I'm going to be moving the background. So I can lock my background layer, which is next to the eye, that blank space you can select. And now I can select this and move it around. Okay, so try out some of these shape tools, the paintbrush tool, label your layers over here, and this is just the basic setup of Illustrator. When you save your file, you want to go to File, Save it on your computer. Make sure you choose desktop. You want to save it. Always give a title with your last name in the file, and then something that describes the assignment. So I'd say shapes. Hit save, say OK, and once it's saved, you can take that and attach it in Google Classroom to the shape character assignment.